to the True North podcast. My name is Petra. I am your host as well as the founder of Nordic Artists of New York, a community of Nordic and Baltic artists and creative visionaries in New York City. In this podcast, I get to have candid human conversations with the members of our community, discovering untold stories behind their art and creative vision, their life-changing journeys across the Atlantic, and how they stay connected to their northern roots in the concrete jungle. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome to the True North podcast. My name is Petra. I'm your host, and I'm sitting here today with my dear friend and amazing Latvian musician, Arta Jēkabsone.
Kamēr mēnesis ar sauli tik dejo, mēs smējām. Kamēr mēnesis ar sauli tik dejo, mēs svinām. Šo stāstu, kas kamolā vīns.
And I just learned to pronounce her name. Kind of.
No, you did it perfectly.
Arta, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to tell the listeners a little bit about you, and then we'll get right to hearing your story. Latvian-born vocalist, composer, and arranger Arta Jēkabsone infuses her jazz with Baltic soul and an unshakable sense of storytelling, seamlessly blending Latvian folk melodies with contemporary jazz expression. She crafts music that is both intimate and daring. Arta has won the prestigious Montreux Shure Jazz Voice competition and has finished in the top 3 in multiple internationally renowned competitions. In 2021, she won 3rd prize at the annual Sarah Vaughan International Jazz Voice competition. And in 2023, she received Latvia's highest recognition in music, the Latvian Music Award for New Artist of the Year. Her most recent work is a Latvian alternative folk jazz album called Dziesmu Kamoliņš, Garland of Songs, which was released on October 16th, 2025. Welcome to the True North podcast, Arta. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, Petra. It's amazing. I feel like great. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
And we're here to just talk.
know.
Talk about life.
And we have, for those of you who don't personally know us, we have wanted to get together and just talk for ages because we could do that for 6 hours.
Yes.
So
That's been tested.
We'll try not to do it for 6 hours today, but I'm sure that we'll have a lot to talk about. Arta, I would love to start by hearing a little bit your kind of like hero origin story. Like, just tell us where you're from, how were the beginning years of your life in terms of music and creativity? How did music come into your life, essentially?
Oh, yes. This is actually always my favorite part because there's so many stories and always like to pick which are kind of like the shareable ones.
Yeah.
For public. No.
Which ones are the dark secrets?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But like I'm originally from Latvia. I was born in Talsi, but then I moved when I was a kid to Kandava, which was actually my original like town where I grew up. And I have a brother and I have an amazing mom. And basically I grew up in this little town and music kind of came along. My mom told me that already when I was like 3. I was this really hyperactive child. I would be like everywhere and I wanted to do everything. And so yeah, I know, like now
I don't get that from you now.
I know like a lot of people like who knew me back then are like, is this the same person? All the time, like I'm hearing like these questions. But basically what happened is like when I was like around like 3, my mom took me to this outdoor event in Kandava. Like we had this outdoor performance space. It was like a huge space. Like you had like stairs to climb up and down because it was sort of on a hill. And so like I'm sitting with my mom and like suddenly like she turns and she like sees that next to her like there are friends that she know, and so she starts to talk with them, and then like she looks at me to check up on me, and I'm not there.
Oh my goodness.
And she of course kind of like freaks out, but she's like, where this kid again, like
again
like what is she doing? So then she hears the announcement from the stage, like, hey, like, we're having this kid on the stage who's trying to, like, steal the microphones. Can you parents please come and get her?
I love that.
And she like, literally, she went like, oh my goodness, it cannot be her. And then it's me. It's of course me. And I'm on the stage, like, taking all the cables from all the microphones. And my mom just, like, runs down to the performance, like, space. I had to get down from the stage, like, come down, like, you have to come, like, with me. You cannot do that. No. And I'm holding all those microphones in my hand. I'm gonna sing now.
You're literally like, this is where I belong.
This
Like,
yeah.
this is what I'm gonna do. Just
Yes.
heads up.
Just
This is what it is now.
yeah. And then at the age of 5, like, I mean, I was really, I had like my own mind, and I think also part of the reason why I think like I came to New York. There's like even this like one story when I was also 3, which is super crazy to my mom. So when I was 3 again, my mom, like, we had an argument with my mom about something. I don't know what type of argument can you have at like
run off somewhere.
So what I did, so I said like, okay, I'm done. I'm leaving the house. I packed my little bag and I went out with my backpack, and I'm not showing up for like 3 hours, 4 hours.
God.
And she's like, okay, because she's like, she's gonna be coming back in like 10 minutes, and I'm not there. Like 15 minutes passes, like 30, yada yada. And then like after like 4 hours or 3 hours, she receives a call from my grandmother. Hey, do you know where your kid is at the moment? She cannot be at your place. And so I ran to my grandmother as a 3-year-old. And my grandmother lived at that time. We lived with another grandmother, like on my dad's side. We lived with her like in the city, in the town center. And like my other grandmother with her grandfather, they were like kind of more outside of the city like suburbs.
Oh my God.
So it was like, I think 5 kilometers.
Which is 100 kilometers to a 3-year-old.
Yes, and it was the fact, and I mean, I actually like, I kind of remember, like, there's like some things that I remember about it, like walking somewhere, but I don't. Yeah, and my mom was like, yeah, like you were just not, like you had like your own thing. If you wanted to do something, you're just going for it.
Wow.
And at the age of 5, that was also the thing. Like I overheard a conversation my mom had with my kindergarten teacher, like music teacher, and she's like, she has an ear. You have to send her to music school. And like at that time, like my mom, she loved also like artistic things and like choreography, and like she would dance and like do like aerobics, like for, like after like you're pregnant and like you want to get back into the shape. So she's like, I should, like do something like in my life to basically get back to shape and also do something that I love.
Yeah.
And so like she started to do the choreography and like aerobics, and then and so like I overheard this conversation, and I mean like it was like nobody in my family was kind of very like artistic in a sense that like, oh, we're doing that like for like our living.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like we like that, we appreciate that, but like
presence.
yeah. And then so I overheard that conversation, and next day I went to the music school and applied. I knocked on the principal's door and I said like, "Hi, I'm Marta. I want to apply to the music school. Can I like get like how can I get in here?"
Wow.
And so the principal looked at me like, "Wait, where is your parents?" I'm like, "Oh, I came alone. I'm like 3 minutes away." But the house was like 3 minutes away from like there. And I said, "Can at least I get a paperwork that I could give to my mom?" And she gave me everything. Went back to my mom. She signed everything. And like 2 weeks after, I think like we went in for like a little audition, like sort of to see like if I have like that musical ear. And then I started to do like violin and vocal ensemble called the Keyboards. Toasting.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. And I read in your bio that you still feel like violin in some ways informs your vocals and vice versa, which I thought was really interesting. Can you talk a little bit more about what you kind of mean by that?
I think for me, it's like more that the way how I sing is the way how I play, and the way how I play violin is also how I sing. So that it's kind of like goes, like it kind of like complements each other. And I feel, and this is what I've always felt like yes, like I'm a vocalist, but I think I feel myself more a musician. Because like sometimes I feel in different like music scenes, sometimes people are like very like labeling like, oh, you're a vocalist.
You're one thing.
Yeah, you're one thing. But no, it's actually and vocalists also can be a musician.
100%.
And like sometimes I think that's being like seen as like, oh, if you're a vocalist, you're a vocalist. You're not automatically considered as a musician, which I kind of don't agree.
Yeah.
Because you are a musician because you're using your instrument.
Absolutely.
It's just inside of you. And so I think like that idea, like with the violin, because I played it like so early on in my life, like it was like more classical music. I had amazing teachers who really taught me how to love music, and also like taught me when I'm playing an instrument, imagine as if you're like singing.
Oh,
And so I kind of like
that.
kept that idea, like with every single instrument that I do, it's kind of, yeah, it's a voice.
Yeah.
It's still like my voice.
Yeah.
And it's like interesting. I've been hearing a lot from the people, also with the piano playing, like I do that too. And that's like more, I love it for fun, and sort of a lot of like events that I have done, I have to like do solo accompaniment for
In New
myself.
York, it's very, you have to be able to accompany yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that a lot of the Taoist people had said to me like, oh my God, like, yeah, like the way how you play is the way how you sing. It's kind of like, it's your vibe. And I'm like, what is my vibe?
So it sounds like it's basically like that. It's your essence is in all of those things. There's just different vessels for the same thing to get out, kind of.
Yes.
Just very poetic, but I totally get what you mean by that. You know, it was interesting when you were saying about that, that you often feel like a vocalist cannot be a musician. I also find the opposite to be interesting, where I will very often get, so I obviously songwrite, record, produce myself, and I will very often be referred to as a singer, which I find really interesting because I'm like, I mean, technically, yeah, sure, I sing, but I would never go to anyone and say, hey, I'm a singer. I would lead with all the other things that I do. But for some reason, it's like this easy thing to kind of like what you said, like people almost want to label you as like, you're this one thing that is easy for me to comprehend.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's also because maybe like singing is more that like you deliver like this.
Yeah.
Because the composing aspect, or like like the singer-songwriter stuff, is what you do. Like it's
invisible.
It's invisible. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it's somewhere like in that like in like it's a part of your process, but yeah, it's not something that like is like, oh, it's there, like it's apparent like in that way. And I think it's kind of like nice to see that. I think like nowadays we kind of are those like multiple things that we are. I mean, sometimes we are juggling them, and like sometimes like there's like that balance, like when like more the production comes a little bit like more in play, and like where then the other time like the composition, like how it changes, and it's kind of beautiful to like see, because I think like from all these processes we also like evolve, and like we get better like at each thing, because
everything informs the other.
Yeah,
just kind of like you said, between instruments and your vocals, like everything. The more I learn about music production, the more obviously it informs composition. The more it informs my singing, the more like it's all like connected to each other, like the Pocahontas song. Okay, so I want to fast forward a little bit to from your 3-year-old self, who very, very much knew what she was going to do, to how did it first occur to you, or when was the first time that you ever thought about moving to New York? Like, where did that idea come from?
Apparently my childhood again. Like my mom said at the age of 5, even though I hadn't seen, maybe I had seen movies probably, but like New York, I'm like trying to, my mom told me like, yeah, you already, like when you were a kid, you said like, I'm moving to New York.
Really?
I don't know, it was just like these weird things, like I mean like not weird, but like as a kid, you know, I think like I had the very strong imagination, and like I was kind of like leaning more towards that. Even like I wasn't, I mean, I think like I was more considered that like flower child and kind of like dream like, but I also was very like, I'm just doing it, like whatever I had.
I see such a similarity between us in that way. I think I was exactly the same. I was like a little bit of a hippie nature girl and a little bit of a dreamer, but still I was like, I'm just moving to New York. What? Like,
I know, yeah, I think it's just like something like a part of like our like like just the way who we are as like human beings. Like I think that curiosity.
Yeah,
I think like one of the things, I think I've always been curious. Like, and I think that's actually what has been helping me to move around and like be like, okay, I'm doing it because I'm just curious. I'm like genuinely like curious about like, what if I do this? Like, what happens? Like, what if I do that? Like, what happens? But I think like the moment my trajectory like in music actually was like from the early on, I was very lucky to actually do a lot of vocal competitions when I grew up. And so there was a point in my life when actually everybody thought that I would, I mean, I did a lot of like vocal competitions, but I also did a lot of like violin competitions. And so people, like my teachers were like so, like they actually thought that I'm going to choose violin as my like main thing, and they were kind of surprised that I didn't do that. I was like, no, I feel like more connected to the voice. And throughout that time, like I did these competitions, I did musicals, like I was sort of immersed when I was already like a kid. Like I went on tours like with people like in the country, like so I would travel around across the country with different like performers. So I saw, oh, this is like so cool. I get to like do music, and I get to do like loads of different things, like classical music. I get to do like Latvian like folkloric music, pop music, like at the time, right? And then later on, I switched to jazz because then I started my teachers. Like really, I do have to like say huge like thank you to all of those teachers who were like in my way, because they were, yeah, they just somehow intuitively like knew how to guide me, even if they didn't realize it, maybe, or maybe still didn't realize. But I think for me, kind of the gatekeepers, the people were my teachers. And then later on, I got, I got to know about jazz music, and I was like, oh, I like that because it's very different. Like I can improvise on the spot. I can compose something like in a minute. And then I went to the high school, which was like a jazz school. Did that whole training with an amazing teacher, Inga Bērziņa, who actually has taught, I think, all of the Latvian like jazz vocalists. She's basically she's the one who's kind of
the
like
one to go to.
and she's, I think like she's also the person who has built the legacy for like the Latvian jazz vocalists, and everybody is like somewhere doing their things. And I think New York kind of came. There is interesting connection. So like when I in my last year of high school, my teacher, well, kind of before my last year of high school, we had like 4 years of studies. So like you do like, like a high school is like 4 years instead of like 3 in my case, because it was like a professional education. So my teacher sent me to do some like work as a background vocalist for Sheila Ray Charles, which is Ray Charles's daughter.
Wow.
Because she was in Latvia and in Lithuania and Estonia. She was doing this project, like she wanted to record an album, and it's for some reason, like they recorded that in Latvia. And so they were like picking out like different like singers like from all the Baltics. And so like we came together in Latvia, recorded that album, which actually never got released. But then we did like a jazz festival. And so that is where she actually asked me, like we got like pretty like in a like close and nice relationship, like very openly like talking about stuff. And she's like, so what is your plan? Like what are you planning to do afterwards? I was like, I don't know, like I'm gonna just like search for like schools probably in Europe. And she's like, why not US? Was it because it's very expensive? Like, it's just like
just walk into
you can't, because even like that whole thing is just a different way how we operate here and how we operate in Europe, and like what's accessible and like what's not, right?
Very much,
and still even now
still the case,
and so she like was like pointing me, she said, look into it, like look into schools there. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna consider that. And then the same night when we had the conversation with her, I met my mentor that's been Kęstutis Vaginis, who is a Lithuanian saxophone player, and I knew him because of these workshops that I've done as like as a high schooler. And so we met randomly at this festival. Imagine like it was like thousands of people, and we bump into each other, like not knowing that we're both there. It's the universe, right? And so we went to the jam session, and he also like proposes this question. So like, what is your plan? Like, where are you going? Like, what? Yeah, I think you should go to the US. You need to go to New York. And I'm like, what's going on?
Why is
this
from all directions?
And then I started to like look into these schools, and I realized also that, I mean, I had thought about it internally that a lot of Latvians at the time, they would go to Amsterdam or like a couple of like specific schools. And I was like, maybe I should go on my own venture, like find a place where, in a way, like there's not a lot of Latvians, so I can like start something kind of new and like build maybe like, and also maybe give for other people like a way to be like, okay, like it's doable. Like you can do whatever you like, whatever you feel like. And then I applied for the schools in US and I got the scholarship from the new school. And that was like a clear sign. Okay, like I guess I need to be here. And that's how it just, it was actually because of the new school and that I ventured here. And also I have to be like thankful to Janet Lawson, who was one of my teachers. And there's a connection that like Inga, my Latvian jazz voice teacher, she was like very close to Janet because back in the 90s, Janet was the first one who came to Latvia to kind of, this is jazz. This is like what you do. This is how you scat. So they became like very close friends, and like they kept like in touch like over the years. And then like once I was going to New York like for auditions because I sent in my tapes. Janet was the one who actually helped me with getting the new school audition in terms of like so like you know how those audition processes are, like they have certain like dates when you can do the audition. And so like I was going for SUNY Purchase School, which is like in the state, like in White Plains, and then the new school. But the new school wasn't able to offer me at that time like the audition slot because it was filled up already. Because it was kind of like a little bit like a last thing for me, which is a lot of the times it happens.
Never happens. None of us ever do anything last minute.
But there are so many people who can do it. Like I'm always like amazed by that. And so what happens is like Janet, like my teacher, like since like the new school, they sent me like an email like, unfortunately we cannot do anything. You have to come in April. And it was February when I came. It was like, no, I'm not gonna travel twice. Expenses.
Your 3-year-old was like, no, I'm actually coming now.
Yeah. And so like Janet actually pulled it off. She like she walked into the administration's office and they're like, hey, look, like, guys, look,
you gotta get this kid.
Yeah, like she's coming from Latvia. Like it's not like as like coming from Dallas or like from like somewhere like close by. Like, can you really just make a little like change, make it happen? And so like the next day, like after she's like, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of that. Like that was the like only thing on the email. And the next day, like I received like from the new school, hey, like your time slot is gonna be like 8:50. Like so before all the auditions started. And that's like when I like
love Janet.
Yeah, I mean she was a force.
Wow.
She still is a force. And I mean it's just interesting, like
wow. I have to tell you, this is another, we keep finding this is another similarity between us, is that a huge part of my story is that when I want to say like 21, I'm not even going to go through the circumstances, but for a weird sequence of reasons, I was sat on a couch and someone for the first time in my life asked me, what do you want to do with your life? And that one simple question honestly changed the entire trajectory of like my entire existence. And so it sounds a lot like kind of like the universe really just puts these paths in front of you and these questions of like, they're almost like these like revolving door moments where it's like you can go this way or you can go this way, but you gotta make a choice now.
Yeah.
And so I love that.
Yeah, I think like it's the whole life. Like I think like it is kind of like about asking those questions. And I think as humans, like I think it's very hard sometimes to ask them because they're
to remember to ask them.
Yes, and because they're also like very like vulnerable because like you don't know what is gonna trigger like how, and it's scary because you don't know like also the change like in your life. So like what am I willing to do?
And I mean honestly, someone wise once said to me like, the scariest thing you ever do in your life is make the decision to do something. Not even the doing of something. That comes easy after the decision is made. That's the easy part. It's when you make the decision, that's the scariest part because then you know you have to follow suit.
Yep.
And things have to change and you have to take steps. So wow. So so you came to New York with the school, obviously. And then once you graduated,
I decided to start
working. Yeah, exactly.
And it was like funny because it was during COVID. So like my school, I did my bachelor's was jazz performance, like jazz voice and performance, and I did a lot of like stuff in like a lot of courses I took like for composing because I always loved that. That was like something that I like felt, oh, like this feels fun. This is really something like interesting to me. And so like during that time, like I did the composition like classes and then the voice, and then the school offered me during like my studies, they offered me to also do my master's, and kind of like that was also like the same scholarship would apply for my master's. And
That's amazing.
I know, no, I mean, that whole thing, like now, I think like at that moment when I received that news, I was crying, like how can this like happen? And even like to now to myself, like so many times, like we all have like these moments when we're down, like, oh, like stuff is not working out, like I'm not doing this. I'm like, wait a minute, like there's been so many blessings in your life, and you know that some people didn't have even like that big thing is a scholarship, and they're like fighting and like doing what I can. So you better just stop and like go through, push it through. It's gonna work out. It's gonna be okay. Something else will come, and because I know like a lot of my Latvian friends who afterwards came to study here, like somewhere in the U.S. They had a completely different situation, and then it's like interesting. Like when I came here, it was me and my 3 classmates from the same high school that went to Berkeley. And actually, it was funny. My Berkeley application went into my spam, so I never received that message. Yeah, so it's like also like interesting, like how it's universe, like literally, and like we all, like we all had like our destined paths, like where we had to like be, but it was so interesting that I think our like the 4 of us kind of opened the door to like younger people to be like, hey, it's actually doable. The only thing you have to do is like step in and just go for it. And that's, that's what you have to do. And it was kind of interesting. And then a lot of them, like my like younger peers, they're like, they often would like message me. So like, how do you do this? So in some ways, like the 4 of us became like the contact people, like when like mentors, like when you're coming here, like what you should do. And so that I think that was kind of nice to like see that like, because I feel like I never think about it like, oh, what is the impact that I'm gonna be making on other people, like like how my decisions will impact, like that maybe it will maybe inspire somebody else. And I've never like thought about it, but it's kind of beautiful to see that like sometimes you are the person who kind of lights that little light, and then
it's like the best when it happens.
And it's beautiful, and it's like it's amazing. I'm so always like happy to see when my friends are like like anybody that they're doing their thing and they're happy and like things are coming to them, and because I know like how much of a struggle and also how much work you have to put into it, and because it feels like, oh, it's such an easy thing. Because I remember like after like we got that scholarship, like couple of us, like there was a lot of like press things going back in Latvia, like, oh, like you're rich people, like that's how you get it.
Wow.
It was very like a lot of Latvians have like their own like
that sounds a lot like the Finnish mentality of
I think it's like this weird like
something special now that you
and I was like, I mean, like you don't know, like how can you judge a person? You don't know their life story. You don't know, because maybe they like were super low in their life, and then like this amazing opportunity came. So that's why I think like I'm always the one who just tries to be like, this is amazing. I'm just happy in general, like, for people who are doing their thing, and you just see how they just lift up and like things are happening. And I think in that kind of case, you also feel like, everything is possible as long as you just do the work. You are like, you open up that door. And
I think it's so beautiful that because you speak so warmly about your mentors and your teachers, and I think it's like a full circle thing that now you're then able to become that person to someone who, and it doesn't always need to be big things. It can be just you offering that one piece of advice or that one piece of encouragement or just a little nudge to the right direction. Or simply just, even if they never even spoke to you, but just seeing from afar that you're doing certain things, and it gives people this like, oh, if she's doing this and she's like from the town next to me, like maybe I can also do that. That's so wonderful.
And I think it's important because I feel like this world also, like currently, like we live in such a like divided, like place in a way. And I feel like it's very important, like for all of us to cultivate that we are all in this together. And like no matter like what happens, we just do it.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take a very little break and then we'll be right back. We're back with Arta Jēkabsone, Latvian jazz, folk, singer-songwriter, composer, vocalist, all of the things. So we spoke a little bit about your kind of journey from childhood to New York. You studied here and then stayed afterwards. I'd love to skip forward to your life right now in New York. Could you give me just a little window into your sort of average week, for example, in New York? What are the different things that you do? I know that you obviously perform, you compose, you release music regularly, you teach. Just give me a little what do you do on an average week?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of colorful, and it really is, and it's all those things actually that you mentioned. They kind of like go in like in a wave, like you have performances, then you have like compositional work, something either like you are being like commissioned, I'm being commissioned for something, or something that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna compose something because I have like an inspiration.
Yeah.
And then like the teaching aspect definitely goes into it. Like I teach now privately, some workshops, and also like individual lessons. But yeah, I think like if I have to like I don't think like I have like a set schedule, because like now I'm literally like more of a freelance, because before like the past 3 years or so I was working at the school. I was teaching like in one place, but then I decided to a little bit like part ways and like actually be more focused on my career and more on the music that I want to do. And I felt the teaching was a little bit like taking a lot of energy out of me, and the creative energy, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I decided to be like, let me see like how does the freelance stuff works, and somehow magically, thank God, it's been working at the moment. But it really is like ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Like there's moments when there like you have many things going on, and then you have like also like times when you're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
You know how that
Yeah.
is. Yeah. But at the moment, like, so perhaps like this week, what I was doing, I just returned back from Pennsylvania. I was at Haverford College doing like a artist teaching residency for very interesting electroacoustic music, which is like very interesting because so I've lately and like a couple of past years I've been also doing a lot of stuff with the electronics, like meaning like I have like my little loop station and I'm creating Latvian folkloric music or just like songs using the looper. And then somehow I got involved. I bought these Mimo gloves, the movement gloves that Imogen Heap created. She's an amazing, unbelievable
Shout
artist.
out to Imogen.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like goodness. Like I know her like from like early 2000s because that's when I started to like listen to her. Remember like music. It was like a part of the OC show.
I know. That's where I discovered that too.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this song? This is the best
Yeah.
thing I've
Hide
ever
and
heard.
seek.
I know. And like people don't I've heard of people who know who she is, know her music, and don't know that song. And I'm like, you're missing out. Like to me, that's the whole cornerstone of like, this is her brilliance. Like this is what she does, kind of. But obviously, she does a lot of cool things.
I mean, she created those gloves. Like it was her thing, because it was
basically
basically
seen those in real life.
it's magic. Like it's magic. And so like because I was doing this long time ago. Like I did a NAM show. Like I attended like the virtual events because like since I was still at the new school, they gave me like a discounted like access to that.
Could you just tell
but
listeners who might not know what is NAM?
Yeah, the NAM. Actually, now I'm thinking like what it would be like the full name, but basically it's like this music technology and like music creator conference that happens in Anaheim in California. It's like a 3-4 day like exposition of like different. You can test all the cables, different like new instruments that they're making. Sometimes also there's like appearances from Stevie Wonder or like Jacob Collier. Everybody kind of like
it's
music. Yes,
music nerd mecca,
literally like. And there's also like a lot of like tech, and especially like now since like that has like even like the Shure microphones, they're there.
Yeah,
and they're usually
Shout
actually
out to Shure.
Yeah, and they're like usually actually like allowing people to test. So like you kind of go to this exhibition to sort of like see what's new, what's happening,
newest,
what's the newest thing, either like in technology or like even like with teaching methods.
Mhm.
There's all like different like people go there, and so like that year, the year before I went like in 20. Oh, it was 2020 before the pandemic. Yeah, but before the pandemic hit, like I was there because they offered me a scholarship because I was still a student. So like I went there for 4 days. It was just like unbelievable. Like it's just very nerdy, but there's like performances, showcases, like yeah, like you see like different artists like walking. They're like, oh, here, everybody's here. They're like,
Starstruck.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we were like, yeah, I was like, oh my god, like this is crazy.
I really want to go.
Yeah,
I've never been, but I really want to go.
but also it's very exhausting because like it's
Yeah.
a lot of like information, and I was also a part of that student program, so they basically allowed me to like I had to do like they had like different like sessions, but it was cool because at that time, because it was still 2020 when I remembered, I took a lot of like composition like conferences where the talks with the composers, not any particular like composer that is like in my mind that I remember like who was there, but they were like film composers and like more like with choral music, just all sorts of different people. But I remember like I went to this talk that where they started to talk about the realities and like also like how the industry is changing. And that for me, I remember like that year, like 2020, I was like, oh my god, like things really are shifting. And how many a lot of artists are getting underpaid because it's like the whole Spotify thing, like all the like digital stuff. I mean, like from one side, yes, it's amazing that we have access everywhere, but like we also know a lot of the
It's a
downsides,
whole,
right?
it's
Yeah.
a jungle. No
And
one
I
quite knows how it all works.
yeah, and I think that was the like kind of like the point where it was like shifting. And I remember like those composers like talking about like yeah, like the Netflix is doing like the buyouts, so nobody's like getting like any money from like if you have like a successful movie, like the royalties would be like paid like a buyout, so
Yeah.
you wouldn't.
I think they have now, because it was such an uproar, I
Yeah.
think they have, if I understood correctly,
Yeah.
they have now made some changes to
Yeah.
that. We will fact check it at some
Yeah,
point, but
it's
it was a whole
also
thing.
it's like changing. And yeah, I mean like it was just like an amazing place to be. And then in 2021 when it was COVID, I still had my student access, and so like I logged in, and yeah, like the one conversation that I have, the first one is Imogen Heap with
Oh my
with Eric Whitaker. And they're
Okay.
having that conversation, like low key, right? And I'm just like seeing like, and then she pulled her gloves, and I was like, she's like, yeah, you could do this, and then she's like playing around. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I was like, is this magic or like
is
what's
magic.
going? It really is. And so like I was thinking a lot about it. I was like, should I invest in that? Should I do it? Should I not do it? And I was like, but I'm a musician. I really need to invest in things that I really care about.
Yeah.
And maybe this is like something that I can do on the side.
Yeah.
And so I purchased them and they came after like 7 months because like it's a tiny company in UK.
Yeah.
And like Imogen created that as her, I believe it was her thesis work in the tech university. Yeah, it was like this whole thing. And it started back in like 2014.
Wow.
And then like I think like around that time when she was doing the sort of that like a PR, like a campaign for that. It was like more kind of like to make it public that like, hey, they're available also for purchase.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's
So
really
now
really
you
cool.
have them?
I have them, and then this week, a part of this residency, I worked with this amazing bass player, Keenan Zach, who actually was the reason like why I went there, because he invited me to come along with him and like teach the students, like to work with the technology and kind of like do the pieces for them. And then they had like the professor mailing Lee, and she is a guru like in all this tech world and amazing compositions. And so when she knew that I have these gloves, she's like, oh my god, we need to like include them. And so I finally took them out and like we did like some work with them, and it was just mind blowing. And it took 2 days, like for me, like to learn the gestures, because she actually was the one who programmed it this time. But I just sat alongside to kind of learn from her.
Yeah.
What is she doing? And we did the whole performance. So perhaps like I know like I was kind of a little bit like went away from like the original question that you asked about like the average like week or something. But perhaps like this was like something that happened this week that I was like out, and then yesterday I came back on Saturday. Like I came back and I had like a really late gig with another Moroccan band with Samir Langos, who just released his album out, and like I'm a part of that album. And it's like we did like a performance at Sultan Room in Brooklyn, and the gig was like 11:45 p.m. and like then you go like full blast like this until like 1 a.m. So like it really it's just different. And then there's some weeks where like I might have like no performances, but like it's time to compose or time to do like some commission works. I've composed like recently for choirs, for also like for chamber, like string chamber, like constellations, and then also I'm a part, which is another truly wonderful thing that happened. I'm a part of the BMI big band workshops, which was like really a dream of mine to like be a part of that workshop. But like I was either at school or like COVID happened, so like it never lined up. And then like this year, like I finally got in, and it's basically like a 3-year course where every single month, like once in a month, like you're composing music for a big band, and you get a chance to actually hear it with a live big band, and you're able to just see that. And there's Alan Ferber and Andy Farber. They're not related. Wow. Both musicians, amazing musicians and like composers, and just really like brilliant people. And so like they're under their mentorship, like we're getting together like 60 people, actually 60 different like composers. Wow. and like refining our big band skills. And it's been
amazing.
Yeah, so that's actually like also like takes a lot of the time to like work on the big band pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, and then the teaching too.
Yeah.
Like you put them in a schedule, and then sometimes like random gigs like pop in like the day before, like, hey, can you come and sub for someone out? And then you're just like, okay, we'll do some jazz singing. So it's been like quite, like it's, I think like to some people it might like seem that like it's like very unstructured life. Like there is a structure like in that.
It's just a somewhat chaotic structure.
Yeah, it's just like
organized chaos.
Yes, exactly. But I'm honestly like I'm enjoying that. Like it's because I think like my mental space is like more clear, because I can be like more focused on the stuff that just like feels just good.
Yeah.
That you finally have the time, because oftentimes still like I'm juggling like multiple things, and sometimes it feels like very overwhelming, but also at the same time sometimes it's also like, oh my God, like I'm just doing what I love.
Yeah.
And I feel like more fulfilled. Yeah. And then I think even though like I'm giving a lot of the stuff out, I'm also receiving a lot back. And I think that's what I'm always like, I need that.
That sounds like such a sweet spot to be in.
Yeah.
I would love to know a little bit about how do you organize your life? What I mean is on like a very practical, like, are you very married to your Google Calendar, or do you have some kind of AI assistant, or do you have a physical journal that you're like, how do you know where you need to be, next Tuesday at 3 p.m. and which grant deadlines are when, and what are your methods for organizing? Because the reason I ask this is that I think that it is almost like kind of like what you said. It sounds so chaotic and so hard to control for many people who are used to the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Like, they only need to know 9 to 5, I'm going to be in this one place. Yep. That's all I need to do. And that's it. For us, it's so different because first of all the physical locations are so different. They can be anywhere in the city and beyond. New York. And you're touring as well. You're doing things out of state. And on top of that, the times can be, like you said, your gig can start literally at midnight, or you can have something that starts at 6 a.m. Like it's all completely just all over the board. So how do you stay organized?
So I have at the house, like in my apartment, so I have a physical journal. That's like one thing. Before I had like a calendar.
Yeah.
But then I switched it out because I was just like, I don't want to like take it everywhere, and it's like so little space that you can actually like write things in there. So it's like
I always found it's too little space too. Yeah.
And it's like funny, like when I was in high school, I had like these big calendars, but it's like I don't want to like carry that around like New York. So I have like a little like just like a little like journaling like little book. So where I write like things that I need to do like daily, like these are the tasks to do list. I was so bad before. I was very bad like with the organizing because I mean, like my hyperactivity, it's still in there, and like it jumps out like in different like times, and like definitely always in performance because it's like my inner child's like,
this is the fun part.
Yeah, it's just fun, but also like with that being in mind, I think over evaluate like my energy, and so like I used to be like I could put like 16 different things that I have to do that day. No way, Jose, I'm gonna do them. And I was so stubborn, like, no, I'm gonna get to do it. I'm like, literally, like, no, you're.
It's so confusing because I'm the same way. You look at the actual like time slots, and you're like, there is time for this today. It's possible to do this, but then you forget that you're freaking human.
Yes,
and there is also it's not just about the time. There is such a thing as energy. What you're able to bring to these things after your 16th engagement.
Yeah, and we're not a machine. Like that's the thing. Like we're not like a AI tool, right? That like here's like the thing. But and then like I learned, okay, like if I can do like 2 or 3 tasks, like bigger things, 2 or 3 hours, because I think like it's just about calculation, like knowing how approximately that one thing will how long time it will take. If I can like be like specific, okay, this is gonna be like 3 hours, this is gonna be 2 hours. Okay, I have time to like put like 2 more little things because I know like energy wise I'm gonna be okay, like doing this and that. So like one of the structures was like the journaling method, like bullet points. This is this. Then I have on my like my desktop, like on my desk, I have like one sort of like a calendar, like a board. Like you're kind of like your board there, but like it like I can make it like in days, and then I put like, okay, like this is the deadline, that's one method. Then I also have it on my iCalendar because I use like I don't use the Google so much. Google I use it when I was teaching it at school because they gave me like their all the schedule. But I'm using still like the iCalendar because it's like linking all my devices together, and then like I know. However, the crazy thing about that sometimes is since like I am traveling overseas.
Oh, don't get me started on the time zone thing on the calendars. It's
a mess.
It's still happening. We're in 2026. We build like human like robots now, and we cannot figure this time zone calendar thing out.
Yeah, I have this year. I double booked myself like twice. Because being like in Latvia, like I was there like in January, and somebody like asked me like, can you do this gig on that day? I'm like, yeah, because I see like my next thing is like the next day. And I'm like, wait, I come back, I'm like, wait a minute. How am I gonna be in 2 places at this kind of the same time?
Been there, done that.
Yeah. And one of the things I was able to work it out because it was just like we were able to like to switch something around, but like the other one was like, I'm like so sorry, like I didn't mean this to happen. I felt so terrible because when that happens, it's like you know how like the other person like has put like so much energy and like, oh my god, I have to like cancel and maybe we can do it like some other time, like reschedule. But yeah, like that is like one of that's why I think it's better to have like that actual calendar and you see like 7 p.m. like then you know that like there cannot be like 2 things happening at 7 p.m. But yeah, so like those are kind of like my things that I'm
fascinating. It sounds like it's a lot of you and I, again, similar in the way that we have a lot of visual cues.
Yes.
It's like you like to have something physical that you can look at and it's like there.
I had during COVID, like I had like this sort of a moon board, and actually I still like do that like sometimes. And my moon board at that time was like filled with a lot of stickers, and I don't know, like somebody gave me this idea, like like you write on every single sticker, like your little like task that you have to do, and then like at the end of the day you just like take it out. And
that's like therapeutic.
Yeah, and it's done. I don't have to like worry about it. Yeah. But it was, for me, it actually was too overwhelming because one day like I woke up and I was like, I look at that moon board and like I see everything is like yellow, like pink.
Yeah.
And like the whole board is just like covered. I'm like, how in the in this like life, how I'm gonna do all these
Only
things.
55 things to do today. No, I think that would be a bit overwhelming. Although I do love color coding. I am super into color coding in general, but mostly when it comes to digital things.
Yeah, now I'm doing that on iCalendar. Like I have labels. I have so on my iCalendar, what I have is the work for teaching, gigs, rehearsals, now grant applications. That's an orange color, and then purple color, and then the orange is like the deadlines. Because my work is like teaching is sort of like, or other things that I have to do are like in a red color because I don't want to miss them.
Yeah.
Those are like for me making sure that
I have a very similar, you need to have something where it's like you need to physically be there at this time.
Yeah.
And then you have another thing which is like when you come home, you work on this and this and this and this, which is a perfect segue to, I also wanted to ask you, what are some ways that you take care of yourself as a freelancer, as an artist? It gets lonely, it gets overworked at times, it gets overwhelming, it gets chaotic. Obviously, New York City, not an easy place for anyone's mental wellness to live in. What are some things that you, and they don't have to be big things, just anything that you do to cope or take time to yourself or whatever it is that you do?
Oh, it is an interesting thing. The other day, like at this workshop, like with the students and like with mailing with this composer, like we were talking about like how she also is the same way. Like she's like I'm a workaholic, and I can like relate to that. I think like I'm a pretty much a person who is like I'm gonna work all the time, and then I forget to actually like I need to drink, I need to eat. I had like literally like I had like times when my friends were calling me, did you eat today?
Oh my God, my husband does that to me.
Yeah.
He'll literally come with a plate, something, and just put it like here under my nose, and I'm like, okay, fine. Now I get the hint.
And then my mom is always freaking out, or like my grandmother, like you're not eating anything. And then like I sometimes like call them while I'm cooking to be like, hey, just see, like I'm fine, like I'm fine. But I mean, I think I'm still finding that balance because I mean, I think that is like the weird thing with being this like in this creative like space that like gigs start very late. So what is the normal time to like wake up? Because it's just like very different.
There's none.
There's none. And then I still also like teach some students in Latvia. So like we have like these Zoom meetings. So normally those lessons are like early in the morning. Like today I was supposed to have what I told you before, like 8:30 a.m. like lesson on a Sunday because like the student was sick before and like she actually called in again like 6. I was like, great, I can sleep in.
Because you were home at 3.
Yeah, I was 3 a.m. After that gig, it was just like like the traveling. Even like in New York, like from getting from place to place, it's just like sometimes it's like it. I mean, like it's funny. I go back to Latvia and like people are like, yeah, it's gonna take you so much. I'm like, piece of cake.
I know.
It's a difference.
It's completely warped now.
Yeah.
Like in Finland, if a friend lives an hour away, that's like
it's
far.
Okay.
It's another city. It's a whole trip to go there.
Yeah.
In New York, we travel an hour on the train all the time. No one blinks an eye.
Yeah. But I think like those, getting back to that question about like those coping mechanisms, not coping mechanisms, but I guess like things that help me, definitely physical activities. That's my number one thing everywhere. I have to do something like physically, like either it's Pilates, yoga, kickboxing, like whatever I need, because that's where I get the energy. And that's when I also like release all out, like what's been like in me. Taking walks like in the park. Like I'm very blessed that I'm like near the Prospect Park, so that's been like my spot. Because it's funny because I really am. I consider myself more as a countryside girl because like I grew up, like in a little town and it had like river and like woods and like so it's flowers and all bees and all that. But it's interesting that like my character also is like this city person. And I'm like, I did like as a kid, like my grandfather, they had like, potato fields and we would have to go and like do all that, like that type of work. And I was like, yeah, it's like I have a lot of energy. I'm going to do it. And so I think like I feel like good. Yeah. Like in both of these places, but nature definitely is my, like the place where I'm like, okay, it's my healing time. It's my like restoring time. It's like where I feel like, okay, I can now live again. Like everything's gonna be fine. And then I think something I'm trying to get is better with the sleeping schedule, making sure that I have those 7, 8 hours of sleep a night. And, like with touring, like with also sometimes like the grant deadlines, applications, like how many times, I don't know how it is for you, but
We're
so
both
many
there,
times.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or also like sending the application literally at 23, like minute before. And I'm always just like, I'm sweating. It's just like feel that cold sweat.
It's you know what? It's an extreme sport.
Yes, it's an adrenaline.
Yeah,
We're
it's
on adrenaline.
completely crazy.
Yeah. So those are the things. Yeah, like sea, like ocean, like water. Sometimes like just reading a book. Yeah, also listening to podcasts. I love Mel Robbins, actually, someone that I like sometimes like my friend, she sent it to me and it's like, "Oh, this is interesting." And it's like funny how sometimes you listen to things or you read things and you've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's just like, wait a minute, like I just
Someone
like
summarizes it
found
for
like an
you.
answer or like something.
I know.
And then another thing is journaling.
Yeah.
Like I do that not maybe like every single day, but like I have like maybe like twice a week when I feel like I'm getting like very like heady. Then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take a time to like reflect and see like what's going on, like what's going on with me. And then usually like through that I realized like I just need a downtime.
Yeah.
Because we're just overstimulated and the computer world, and it's just like you're all the time like texts and emails and
screens after screens.
Yeah. And it can be crazy. And I think that the problem is like falling asleep after you worked late.
Yeah.
I'm usually like my brain is just like
I'm the exact same way. And Eric can tell by now sometimes, even though he's not even seeing me, he's like to the other side, but he can like sense it. And he's like, "You're just up there planning a music video, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yep." Yeah, 75% written by now. Like, that's what it is. I also am really curious, and share as much as you want to share. But one thing that I want to ask all of the artists that I invite on this podcast is I want to talk a little bit about money, because I think that is something that is not, there aren't enough honest conversations about how artists actually make their money. I think that a lot of the thoughts of like how like the normal people who are normal, the regular folks who are not artists, who are not in a freelancing track, I think often have a very antiquated idea of how a musician, for example, actually makes their money and their living. So you definitely don't need to give me numbers or anything, but if you could build just kind of like a pie chart. So like what would be like the biggest pieces of how you make your living? What would be the smaller bites?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I'm like now trying to like visualize that. It really depends. So I mean, with the performances, as you know, living in New York, there's like a bunch of different gigs. Sometimes you have to invest on your own pocket, meaning like you're receiving zero or maybe even sometimes going minus. Because like like you need to invest, right? Like it's your business in a way. So, but there are also like some gigs that I do, like more like corporate events where like you can get something like a little bit like like more like a fee that is able to cover some part of like the rent or like some things. I do sometimes like wedding gigs, and that's with violin. Like a violin. Like that's actually like what I do with the violin, and sometimes like I play some like recordings. But like the wedding gigs sometimes like help with some kind of like substantial amount, and then with the performances, depending on if it's like like live performance, depends on the place, because so many places are in New York per se, like they're more like ticketed events, and this means like you kind of you'll see what's gonna happen, like depending on how many how many the ticket sales will go,
and what the percentage
and what a
that you get
percentage
out of
also
that,
you're getting
because
there.
I think that's another thing that often people don't realize is that it's not actually the artist who usually gets 100% of the ticket sales. In fact, sometimes it can be a much lesser percentage.
Oh yeah,
depending on the venue policy and organizing and all of that.
Yeah. Then it's also the teaching that also definitely like helps. But also like with teaching, as the same, I mean, with everything, like especially if you're a freelancer, there's no guarantee. And like every single month like is different. Like 1 month I feel like, oh, the performances are way more. This means this gives me that substantial like income that I can like cover the rent and cover like the food and like all the other things that I need. And some months, maybe the teaching is kind of like taking over because there's either new students coming in. Yeah, because I have like some students that are coming like regularly, but then there are also some who just like pop in here and there,
Yeah.
and because everybody like has their own schedule and also the finances, and New York is pretty expensive, you know,
Yeah.
like for all these things. So yeah, it's like I think like it might like that chart, it just like changes like from months to months. Definitely like if I have like some kind of grant, like per se, like this year I got the New York Foundation Arts grant,
Which is
and that
great.
was grant like really helped me like this year because I literally like sort of like stopped working at this school after summer. Like I was like I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from that, and I was like, okay, how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna figure this out. And suddenly like this grant came in, which was a blessing because it really did help. Yeah, just like with yeah, like paying bills that we all
Just
have to
life.
pay, just
Yeah.
life. Yeah. So that's, and then sometimes like I do some production work. Sometimes I like for festivals, like whenever there's an opportunity, like I love to do that. So like I venture into that if there's like anything like ushering or like being in the productions office, like marketing or something. So, but it hasn't like been, I haven't done that recently. But and then commissions too, like, right? But again, it's like every single month, like it's just different.
Different.
So
Yeah.
it's not very consistent. It's very inconsistent, I would say. And there actually are months where I'm like, you know, okay, I have to like go into my like savings a little bit. I mean, not that my savings are like crazy big, but just like with that thought, like, oh, I have to have some kind of like savings just in case if something happens, you know, like a buffer.
Yeah.
And yeah, because like when I arrived here, like I just arrived with, I remember like 10 years ago coming here as a student, I was like, oh, I have like these, like, you know, like 2,000 euros,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be plenty
This
enough.
is gonna take me
This is
far.
gonna take me far. And then, like, after like 3 months, you realize, like, your mom is calling you and she's like, how is it going? Like,
Yeah.
is the money okay? Like, are you okay? And you look in your wallet and, like, you have $5
Yeah.
left, and you're like, life is great. And then, but then, I mean, like, of course, like, what happened was, like, I applied for, like, multiple, like, grants, and, like, it just came right in a moment.
Yeah.
So, and this is, like, the other weird thing, what I feel, and I don't know, like, what that is, but somehow things are just working out. You know, it's just that weird, like, thing, like, when you're just doing, and somehow, like, oh, here's another gig. Like, things somehow just come up, and I'm a person, like, I really, like, I had a book, like, for myself. I made a journal, How to Survive in New York.
I love that.
I've just, like, I lost it somewhere, like, with the movings, because 'cause I've also, like, moved a lot around, but, like, I remember, like, my first week, I was doing these things, and I think, like, one of the things that New York has taught me is, like, yeah, like, how to live economically,
Oh
how
my
just,
God.
you know, like, how
Yes.
to, like, navigate that. But also, the Keenan, my bass player that I just, like, played this past week together, like, in this residency, he, like, actually said it really nicely because we talked about, like, this whole money thing, and, you know, and I kinda like the way how he made it. He said, "You know, I have enough. I have enough for me so I can do things. And yes, I might not be the richest person, like, in the world, but I have enough so I can feel okay. Yes, maybe some months it's harder,
Yeah.
but it's enough, you know, and I know, like, things will work out. Something will just, like, come in, and also that is how I feel. Of course, if I think about, you know, like, artistically, musically, of course, with the money that I earn at this moment, of course, I cannot, like, you know, do all of those crazy ideas that I want to, or like
Yeah.
the record like music, because I just need to like cover the basic living. And I mean, as we all know, like always that has been like the sort of the frame for artists, like, yeah, you're poor. I mean, and in a way, like, it's a sacrifice because, yeah, like, we don't live a lifestyle that's like 9 to 5, and like knowing that like every single month, like at the end of the, like, or like in 2 weeks, or like in a month, like you receive your salary, right? So like
Yeah.
and you kind of like learn to live that way, that you just know. And of course, like, God forbid that, you know, like, there are like emergency situations that happen. So like, what do you do then? Like, how do you navigate that? But also, like, those, I think, like, somehow, I mean, it's been like working out. I don't know how, but I just, it's this whole blessing. And I was like, no, my family has like never been into a place where they could like support me like all the time, because also like I know that there are people like who has like some like family allowance. Yeah, for me, like my aunt really helped me a lot. Like my mom has been trying to help, like everybody's like trying to help the way they can, and not always is like financial, sometimes it's like more emotional.
Yeah.
That's what we also need,
God,
like
yes,
so much like that
definitely.
somebody like listens to you.
Yeah.
But like my aunt definitely, she really helped me out like when I just moved here, and yeah, like gave me some money, and then I also like with the gigs that I did back in Latvia, like saved everything up so I can have my little start. Then the competitions also like that I've done, sometimes they have the money prizes, which also like help with like, 'cause, like for a while. So
how much of your pie chart would be royalty income of different songs streaming or album sales or anything like that? I just want to. I'm saying this on purpose.
No, it's great. I mean, yes, like I'm earning 0.01 cent. No, but honestly, I think it's interesting. So I'm associated with ASCAP, so that's like my like the publishing company.
Performing arts
organization. And since like I do a lot of work here and also like in Europe, I don't know, don't know like how exactly that works out, but like I see like sometimes like, oh, I have like the domestic income coming in, or like the international, but usually it is literally not over like $50, and it comes like quarterly, and it really depends. So it's like, okay, and that is the money that I'm like usually on purpose putting like towards, okay, like music. Like music stuff that I want to do, like that goes there. So like it's not going to be like my supplemental income.
You don't even see it.
No, exactly. And I mean, like now I looked and see, like I released my final, like my latest album was like through CD Baby, right? And I think they sent me like, was it last month, like $10? Like, and I was like, great. Well, because it's like that, like the thing, like when you receive
there's these limits.
Yeah. And then Bandcamp actually has been great. Like it's interesting. Like now I'm doing like these newsletters sometimes, like very periodically, like whatever I remember, like, hey, I have to do that. You're so on top of that. I mean,
with Nordic artists, I'm on top of that. With my own music, I'm definitely not. I'm just like you. Every 6 months, I'm like,
like I need to do something. And then like I list like so many things, and then this last one I laughed because I said like, I'm so sorry guys, like I'm doing like, it's like a memoir, like like everything that happened. But the beautiful thing about those newsletters is like, because I'm sending it from my personal email. And it's kind of nice when people write a letter back to you, and I'm like, okay, this is sweet.
Very direct.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is how it should be, But yeah, like so the Bandcamp definitely is like a cool platform that I think they really are taking care. Yeah, like they're taking like 10 or 15% or 20.
And on Fridays they take nothing.
Yeah, is it every single Friday?
I don't know.
No, I think it was like in like first Friday of the month.
Okay.
Or like, but now I know like they're doing it like a little bit like differently. I think it's not every month, but every other month, something like that.
Yeah.
But still, like it's great that that's happening. Obviously, also like the CDs and all these things, like it's best to like also give them out like when you're actually doing a performance.
Yeah.
Because that's also, yesterday I was talking with Samir Langos, like who is the Moroccan guitar player and vocalist. So he just also like did his album, and like he made a vinyl, and I like the way how he also like put it, like usually people would buy it on a concert because there will be a moment that I remember, like, oh, this is either like I met the artist for the first time, like I heard their music, or like it was, I don't know, like had he said like had my first kiss, or like had my first like date, like, and you like associate like
it's
certain
like a
things.
souvenir.
Yeah, it's a souvenir. And that's why I kind of like that idea of having the physical, like something that little thing that you can bring home, and you always remember.
Absolutely.
I had a friend, like a great friend, who always kept his tickets, and he would, on the back of the ticket, he would write like, I went to this concert with this person.
I love that.
And I had that, I took that idea from him, like, and
that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I know, because it's an experience, and what I'm one of those who really hate it when at a concert everyone has their phone up all the time and they're filming everything, because I'm like, this is the only space where we can come together and not be on a screen.
Yeah.
So like, let's just be in it for a little bit. But then at the same time, it's like you do want to have that little something to kind of remember it by. So that I feel like that's like a perfect balance to have something, an album, or whether it's just a ticket or whatever it is. This is actually a really perfect connector, because I really want to talk about your latest album. First of all, huge congratulations. It is beautiful. I love that I can listen to it and connect with it without understanding a single word.
Now you will be able.
Now I will be, because she just gave me a booklet with English translations, which I think is brilliant. And actually that kind of brings me, first of all, just in your own words, talk to me a little bit about the album, and to everyone listening, what is it about, so forth.
Yeah, this album is, I mean, I think like it's every single like album, it's like your little baby, right? Like it's like your little toddler that like you release, and then like it has like its own like way into this world, and like however like it connected with whomever it connects.
Can you say its name in Latvian?
Yes, so it's Dziesmu Kamoliņš.
Yeah, which I pronounced not that well at all.
No, but you got it. You got it. And like the English translation is like Garland of Songs. And so this idea of this album is actually like Latvian folkloric music that I've known ever since I grew up as a little kid, like up until this day, and finding a way, how does it fit into the artist world? Like, what is for me the folkloric music? Like, what is it like personally? Like to me, how do I see it? And since like as a kid, like I grew up like listening to folkloric music. My mom would sing it, my grandmother, like everybody was singing, like, you know, like the lullabies and all these like really nice things. And I sort of like took that in me, and I would do it. And then there was a moment when I stopped, where I was like, I don't think I want to do the folkloric music anymore. But then when I came here, I realized, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm this one little ant in with 8 million ants around me, like neglecting humans. And who am I? Like, should I really escape my identity, like being a Latvian and being like a Latvian musician, you know? And I think part of the reason was also at the new school, being there in that environment where I was studying jazz, which I loved, and that was like my passion, still is. But I was like, okay, like what can I do to make it more personal, so it's like more me? And that's when I found that like, oh, wait a minute, I can actually bridge my passions, my Latvian like heritage, like Latin folklore music, and also my jazz passion, like for that music, and create something that's like more me and like the sound of me. And this process, like with this album, it's like been like a 10 years in the making, because like it started more unconsciously, like, oh, I'm creating like these arrangements, because I had to do a lot of like Latvian events, like for Latvian communities here across like the US. And it's like funny, but like in these like Latvian community centers, they know certain type of music, and a lot of the times it's this like popular music from back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go and do that, because it's just not me. Like I'm gonna be lying to myself if I'm gonna do it. And also like I appreciate every type of music, but it's just like, you know, when it's enough.
Click.
It just it's and I don't want to I don't want to be that person who like does something when you see that it doesn't spark joy. So it's like, how can I feed a little bit of jazz, and how can I feed a little bit of that, maybe that folkloric component, and to be like, oh, that's something interesting. And that's where I started to create those arrangements. And then I think like a couple of years ago, like basically because of these folk songs and some original music, I get to travel across like the whole like US. Like I was in Los Angeles, in Seattle, in Portland, and in Chicago, Minneapolis, Washington DC, like everywhere, because there's Latvian communities there. So I get to explore these places because of these concerts. And every single time I would like do a new Latvian folklore traditional like little arrangement of it. And so I got to a point where I had like 45 of those.
Wow.
And I was like, And then people are like, you know, you should do an album. And I'm like, should I? And I was like, no, I shouldn't. I think let's leave it as like a concert experience. But then I think it was 2 years ago, I 3 years ago, I think when I finally had that click, I was like, no, but I should do it. Because it is a part of me, and that's also what I'm trying to do, even like in like spaces that's not Latvian. Because it is me, like it is who I am, and I think people should see it. And oftentimes it actually is that people are like, yeah, this is you.
Yeah.
Because when you sing in English, it's great, it's all nice, and like you can do it, you have the storytelling. But when you sing in Latvian, it's like we can see the you, like that's just
The raw you.
yeah, the raw, like
Yeah.
and it's really weird and interesting that like that people see that, but they see it.
Yeah.
You just cannot fake like who you're not, and not that like singing in English like for me is like, oh, I'm faking it, but I think there's just like that other part that, or maybe just like that click for people, like, oh, this is why also her music in English sounds the way it sounds, because it's connected to her like roots, and that's what it makes it like the way it sounds, you know? And for me, like, it was very, very important because I know a lot of people when they come to a different space, sometimes they're like, okay, I want to shut down that, you know?
Yeah. Assimilate.
Assimilate to like, but at the same time, I think like I was missing that because everything was like so like international and like in American, like English and I was like, wait a minute, I'm missing Latvian, I'm missing the potatoes, I'm missing like all these things. So what can help me to kind of maybe in a way like be the coping mechanism, I guess?
And language is such a huge, it's such a bridge to that because language, I think, and you and I spoke about this, we nerded out about this a little bit the last time we saw each other, is that language is not just what is said, but it is how it is said and why it is said that way. Do you have, actually, I'm curious about this. Do you have, how would you in Latvian say like the equivalent of like something coming out of the blue? Like, do you have like an idiom for that?
No zila gaisa. It's actually kind of the same. Like, yeah, it's coming out of the blue. Yeah.
Interesting.
But there is like, oh, well, at the new school, I did a lot of like essays, and like actually like it was weird because at the beginning I wrote everything from the standpoint of Latvian, you know, like my way how I talk to sentence, and now it's changed, and now my aunt is always when I'm like applying for grants in Latvia, she's like, oh my god, your language, because we need terrible. To like you need to fix it. Well, yeah, because like it just changes. But I remember we had like a lot of like items. I'm always proud to say that the Latvians don't have any curse words because we don't have like, you know, like very like strong. Some of them have been gained from Russian and like from like other, like even some of them also have been like, you know, like from English. So some words have been also like taken and like kind of like made into Latvian. But per se, like for example, a fool. Oh, you boot.
I love that. Oh, you boot. Oh, we have to start using that in English.
Oh, you boot.
Boot.
Yeah.
So
it's like, yeah, like we didn't have like such crazy things and
the reason that I think about the from out of the blue thing, because it is one of those things where when it's your native language, you don't think about it until someone else is like, why would you say that? Like, this makes so much sense to me when I realized. So in Finnish, we say something came from behind a tree. Oh, of course. Like Finland is all forest.
Yes.
Of course, that's what, you know, that's how you would put it.
Yeah.
And this is what fascinates me most about language is the idioms, is the how we choose to say something.
Yeah.
What we use to compare it to. What is the metaphor? What is the symbolism for it? Because it tells you so much about the culture.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not trying like to think of like an idiom that like we have, but some of them are like also like rooted in nature.
I bet you have the same kind of
I think it's like similar, but also like some of them are just like different, like definitely not the way how you would say like in English. But it's like funny like that like this came out of the blue, like it's similar. Well, out of the blue, it's actually from guys. Well, it's actually kind of from a blue air, you know, like it was all kind of like
thin air,
or like from the sky, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Now I'm like,
Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but when you think of an idiom, you'll share it with us.
Yeah.
So this album has
yeah.
obviously been beloved by, I think, everybody that has had it. It does feel very much like you. It has I think, some kind of, the word that I want to say is delicious. I think there's something delicious about the combination of sounds that you have chosen for it. Especially when it comes to, I think, the rhythmic parts and the percussive parts. You're using a lot of original sounding things where I can't even name what they are, and I love that.
Okay, this actually I have to give a huge shout out to like actually all the musicians, because also that idea was at the beginning I thought I'm gonna be doing this alone. Like I was like, like it's sort of like, because I think like I started to do like some of those first like demos during COVID. Yeah, because I had like the space at the jazz gallery. When I got the commission from the jazz gallery, like I completed it, and they allowed me to use the space. So I'd be like, maybe I should like compose, like do something here, like record. And I did a bunch of the demos back then. But then like once I was like really determined that I'm doing this folkloric album, I was like, I'm listening back to like some of those things. I'm like, it's not complete. Like there's missing, like something is missing. I think it's not recording.
Is it not?
Yeah, because it was before. I showed the rec button. See it.
Should we just put it again and see it? Thank you for being so vigilant. It's like literally behind.
No, I know. I'm like, it's now it's recording.
Yeah, it's weird. It might still be recording in there, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, we're near the end, so we'll be fine.
Yeah. So the big shout out to like the whole band, because the idea was like that at the beginning I did it on my own, but then I was listening back to it, I'm like, it doesn't feel complete. And then the reason why it didn't feel complete, it was, I need my friends.
Yeah.
I need like that collaborative like aspect, because also like who's gonna listen to like an hour long, like 37 minutes long album just only like with me like plainly like playing the piano and singing and like adding like like violin and like adding things, but it's just like it needed something. And then I started to like think about like the people who would be able to contribute themselves, because for me like I didn't actually gave them like a lead sheet, or just do you, be you, like
love that,
just like
arrange yourself.
Yeah, arrange like how you also like see the Latvian folkloric music from your perspective. And the amazing thing, I had like, Keita Ogawa, who's an amazing like Japanese drummer and percussion player. He actually also works a lot with the Snarky Puppy, but like I fell in love with him, like I mean like with his like the way how he plays, and also as a person, like who he is like as a musician and as a human being. When we played with Samir Langus, who's also on the album, who played gimbri and percussion on this album, but like Keita, like he, oh my goodness, I like the amount of stuff, incredible percussion that he has, and the way how he just like makes each of those little things sound. It is mind blowing to me. And I'm like, the first time when I heard one of the songs that he sent back to me, like, oh, like how is this? I cried, because it's the moment when the musician just takes it in his own hands and kind of, I'm just gonna do like this and this, and he totally got the whole thing, what I actually had pictured in my mind.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to give him like, oh, this is what I need. And like it's amazing when that happens, when the musicians like feel. And I think that's why like with every single song I choose a musician, kind of knowing that they will know what I want, but I don't need to like point that out, because they will just get it because they're them, like it's that thing. And then I had so Keita from Japan. I mean, he lives in New York now already, like for like 15 years or so. Then I had my best friend, who's a bass player, Cynthia Grigoriev or Chase, and she's also from Latvia but lives now in Boston. She's actually was one of those friends from the high school that we came the same time here. She went to Berkeley. And then it was a percussion player from Italy, Federico Nelson Fiervanti, who I've known like since I think like for like probably the past like 6 years, and we tried to like somehow like collaborate on something. Then there's another bass player, Jānis Rubiks, who's like one of my dear friends back in Latvia, and he was actually when I was in high school, he was my fourth year he studied in his fourth year of the high school, and I was in my first year. And so he was like sort of that inspiration, like a person that I looked up to.
Yeah.
And I still do, because he's very kind and sweet and wonderful musician. Then it's Gengchukai from Thailand, the synth player, but he also lives in New York. We're like neighbors, like we're homies.
Yeah.
Neighbors. And then it's Samir Langos from Morocco, who's a gimbri player and percussion player, and also Moroccan and Latvian music. Like how do you put that together?
That's the deliciousness.
I know.
That's where it comes from.
I know.
It's almost like things that shouldn't go together, and then you listen to it, and the way it's made, you're like, oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, this should go with that.
Yeah.
But that is, I had no idea it is such an, I knew it was an international group.
Yeah.
Like, that's next level.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
then there's
cool.
Israeli trumpet player with who's also like I know from the new school, and he's also a part of Samir's band. Nizar Dahmani, who is a percussion player and drummer in Moroccan in the same Samir's band, and
Wow.
Leo Genovese, a piano player and a synth player who he's doing a bunch of cuckoo crazy work in a best like the best
way.
the best way, like with he plays with rap musicians, like with Residente, like with Esperanza Spalding, like jazz, like free everything. Am I missing somebody else? I hope not. I think
You
I
can also put it in the show
and
notes
also
afterwards.
Ike Sturm, a bass player, from US. He's he's also like one of my dear friends, and actually has become like one of my mentors. Like he's been really encouraging and like supporting me a lot, and it's been always amazing to create music with him. He has an amazing group, by the way, like Endless Fields.
Oh, sounds that the name alone, I'm like, enough said.
It's two of them, like Jesse Lewis and Ike Sturm. Like listen to that. It's like I fell in love with them, and I started to like Endless Field. Yeah, amazing. Do you know what they do? It's crazy. They do so like outdoor recordings. They recorded their albums sometimes in Grand Canyon.
Oh.
Literally, now their next record is, I don't know if I should be saying that, but I think I can. But they had a residency in Alaska, and so they made the record outside with.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, no, it was like
you and I should do. Let's copy them. Ours will be called Infinite Lake, Infinite Forest,
Infinite Lake. Yeah, that could be
just a low key
Infinite Forest Lake.
Yeah, Forest Lake. Wonderful. What do you hope that people feel when they listen to this album, to this work?
I think it just honestly, for me, it's always nice, or just like something that I think about it. I just want them to feel like good and like feel like happy and like sort of like that joy and being like present in that moment, because there's so many things going on daily that like the music is that one little space where you can be like, I don't have to think about like anything what's happening around. Just allow me those like for 47 minutes or like 45 minutes, just like be with me.
Yeah.
And I think also like for the Latvians, for me also like another aspect of like creating that album was important because it is like a lot of talks like how are we keeping the heritage alive?
Yeah.
Especially like in the nowadays context when there's like all the information is everywhere. How are we keeping the traditions alive? And I wouldn't say that I'm like a very like traditional person, but I think it's beautiful when you can keep something that's like that's Finnish or that's something that's Latvian, that like you have your own cultural just like thing that like you as a nation do. And like for me with the Latvian folkloric music, it was like that. I want to make sure that like throughout this album, because it's not like like a folk album, it's very all over the place, and I just wanted to make sure that like I hopefully with this I also engage like younger audiences, like people who are just like growing up, so they're like, yeah, like this is the Latvian folkloric music, yes, in a different way, but it's kind of is timeless.
Yeah.
So it goes, because like there are a lot of groups who do it the traditional way. A lot of groups were doing it the jazz way, the like folk, alternative folk, like these other ways. And I think it's important to like keep it going and like finding like your ways, because I think especially like in this world where there's like so much information and when there's like so much of a change, how do we keep grounded and like what is that thing, like who we are. And I had a luck also like teaching Latvian American kids here in New York, like in Yonkers, like teaching them the folkloric music. And it's interesting to see how like sometimes they're like, yeah, like why do I need it? And then like years pass when they like become a little bit like more mature and they're like, yeah, I'm a Latvian. Like I'm it's a part of me. Like I'm different. Like different in a good way. Like I stand out because I have like this another culture. Like like we have like this midsummer solstice, right? We're jumping like across like the fireplace, like things like insane things like that where people are like, are you okay, guys? What's going on? But it's something that like, but this is what we do. We make the breaths, the wreaths or breaths like for it's like those like little things that I think they're so important, like that they stay. Because also I think like the Danish, I'm not like, I don't know like so much about the hygge and the joy, the joy thing. Yeah, those little things. But I think it's so important because those are the things that like, they're simple little things. Who define who you
They're
are.
always the simplest things. It's always something to do with nature and just being with family and friends and like that. All our traditions are rooted in that one way or another, and I think that's something that really connects Nordic and Baltic people from all across the countries. Is that at the end of the day, we kind of do the same things. Honestly, we call them different names, and there's some variations. But I mean,
but the idea
is like we have a fire at midsummer. You have a fire at midsummer. Like
say folk songs by the fire.
You make the wreaths from the flowers. In Finland, in some parts that's the tradition, but in other parts, there's all this folklore about during midsummer you gather wildflowers and you gather 7. Actually, you love this. You gather 7 different types of wildflower and you put them under your pillow, and that is like it is thought to help you find the love of your life. It's like a little enchantment, midsummer enchantment. So
I think during the midsummer, what you have to do, so you cannot go to sleep until 3 a.m. in the morning because like that's the day like when also the sun is kind of in the equal like both like in the same length. It doesn't And I think before you wake up around 6 a.m. you have to wash your face. Like you have to go to the nearest like water stream and you have to wash the face and then look inside of the mirror, and that's when you're gonna see your lover. Apparently, it's just like like things like that. And then there's that. Is it a fern flower? It's a fern, right? Like it's I'm like trying to like see if I hope I'm saying it right. The fern.
I'm not sure.
It's like very like salad green, kind of, or maybe a little bit like darker, and it has leaves like this, and it's called a fern flower. And so apparently, like near the midsummer, a young couple goes inside the woods and they have to look for that fern flower, and that basically means like the fern is sort of for the fertility, like they're trying to like make a legacy, like building like their family. And that's like known, like that's something that you do like during the midsummers, like, and like if a couple disappears, like, oh, they're probably searching for the fern flower.
Oh, I love that.
That's so there's just like these like little things, and it's just, I mean, to some it probably like it just like seems like what is going on,
but why
but at the same time it's so amazing when I sometimes have like friends coming, like I definitely, like I always like say, people do come around like midsummer solstice because it's like something it's just magical, right? And oftentimes people like leave, oh my god, this is like the best celebration that I've ever been a part. And it's like like where you're all the the traditional things, like they come to life. And this is when you see like, oh, but this is who we are. This is like we talk the way we talk. This is the way we think, the way we talk. Like we do things. It's just we just we can't escape that, and I think we also shouldn't. And I think it's just embracing that and like being proud of it. That okay, this is a thing. This is me. This is who like the Latvians are, like Finnish people are, like Swedish. Like it's magic.
Yeah,
It's in its own
it
way.
is.
Yeah.
I have to, speaking of Midsummer, I have to give a shout out to anyone in New York who would like to experience a little piece of Nordic Midsummer. There's actually 2 different events happening for that. So there is usually a Midsummer party organized by the Swedish community that happens in the very southern tip of Manhattan, usually like around the Battery Park zone. So look out for that. That's going to happen in June. Another amazing event that I had the pleasure to be part of last year was the Estonian Midsummer celebrations organized by the Estonian Educational Society, which is on Long Island in their beautiful estate. And they do all the things. They do the fire, they do the flowers, they have live music, they have all kinds of workshop and different kinds of things throughout the days. People are sleeping in tents. It's a gorgeous natural area. There's sauna, there's it's really a communal, wonderful thing. So we're going to put all that information in the show notes so that anyone who would like to have a little taste of what we're kind of talking about, Midsummer is right around the corner. It's in June, so that'll be a great opportunity to do that. Okay, Arta, we're nearing the end. Before we get to our rapid fire section, I want to ask you one last question, which is, what is next for you? What are some upcoming projects or upcoming things that you would like to kind of inform people about?
There's a lot of different things in the making, but like one of the most important for me is getting actually the Garland of Songs as like a performance. But it's gonna take me a minute to like figure that out, because I'm planning to do like a proper celebration of the Latvian folklore music, and it's like with dance and also with visual component, and like of course gathering together most of the musicians that I can, like that will perform with me together. But I hope that maybe sometime next year I can do it, because it's like literally like a larger project, but it's been taking a lot of like my mind space a lot. Then I still need to like do 2 recordings, and currently I'm also like still trying to figure out like the financial side of it, like one also for like a larger ensemble, another one maybe like a little jazz project, like maybe recording some jazz standards, because I want to like do that. I've never done it like in that way, and I think it kind of could be cool to do like a little jazz album, like more like with the standards. In terms of, there's some commissions I'm composing, arranging actually like some music for like a group in Latvia. Well, sort of like individual artists who are going to be doing some work together, I think in June or July. So I have currently like I'm on that path. A huge thing, which is maybe like not super music related, also has been dealing with the green card stuff. Which
but I mean, it's not music related, but it also
is. It's kind of like to be able to keep on like being here and making music and making art and connecting with wonderful people. So that's actually also have been occupying a lot of my brain cells. It's and it's not a process that's like easy, and also something that I can do it like in a day. I wish it could be like that, you know. And that also kind of like ties into that, like the financial thing as well. Like being in US is quite a costly thing to be like, even like with all these visas, and to being able to afford that, like a space, a place here in that kind of sense, like having like all the documents in a proper way, how they're supposed to be. So it ain't easy.
But once you know about all these future things and you know dates and things,
then
please let us know. We're going to spread them all out into the community. Okay, Arta. Now we have this rapid fire portion, which is 10 questions that I ask everybody. The same questions for everybody. And the idea is that you answer with just short answers, the first thing that comes to your mind, like maximum 1 sentence answers.
Yes.
And we have also been trying to think of a more Nordic or Baltic way to call this section. So if there's something in Latvian that's like fiery, quick, you let me know afterwards. So we might rename it. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Take a deep breath. I believe in you. Okay. The first question is, if you couldn't be an artist of any kind, what would you do for a living?
Oh my goodness. Psychology.
Oh, me too. Awesome. We could start a practice. If things go south, we'll start a practice. Okay. Number 2, what is something you always bring with you from home when you go to Latvia?
Chocolate. Latvian chocolate.
Yes, Finnish chocolate. Same here. Okay. You're very good at answering these so quickly. Okay, number 3. What is your favorite secret gem place in New York City? And this could be anything, a natural place, a coffee house, anything that you go to.
The Jazz Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
It's this venue like on Broadway, 27th and 28th Street in Broadway. And it truly is an amazing place, like a nice venue where there's emerging jazz artists and also like already like top artists. Yeah, established artists like that are like in one space, like not working together, but sometimes also performing together, but just like a hub, artist hub where it meets, and they have really an amazing like the whole team, Rio Sakawari, who's the artistic director of the Jazz Gallery, and the whole team itself. It's like a family. It's one of the reasons why actually I'm still in New York.
Wow.
It wouldn't be like, I think I would probably like have left, but Rio and like the whole gallery, that gave me a space where I felt like I can be both Latvian and do whatever I want to do. And
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's
like a community hub.
It's a community, yeah, also a community, and I'm just literally like forever gonna be grateful for Rio, because she, it's really interesting, like when you come as a foreigner and you're trying to like understand and find like where do you belong, because like one thing is being the Latvian, and of course the Latvian community is like a huge part of like my who I am and like the people that I reach out to and that I do work with together, but also internationally, like where there's like other places, and the gallery really has like provided me a space, like opportunities. Like I received a commission from them like in 2021 during the COVID, when I composed that large ensemble project that actually I would want to record, but currently I'm trying still to like figure out the financial part. Some of my music director like work I've done through the gallery, either like putting up like a show for like a holiday theme. Rio like trusted me in doing that. Sometimes the gala is just like, it's I feel like very blessed, and I think really it has kept me going. Even like throughout the lockdown, they created like this lockdown series that was like little 20-minute little videos, 15-20-minute videos of like, musicians like doing their little music. And that kept me going throughout the pandemic. Feel like, okay, like art is still alive. It's going to be okay.
We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. And yeah, it's just,
I have to go.
You have to go.
I've been there.
Yeah.
The Jazz Gallery. Shout out to the Jazz Gallery. Okay. Number 4, if you could have your art showcased at any famous building in the world, which one would it be? So in your case, I would say your music played, or even you performing. What would be like the dream venue?
I have multiple, but I have to name one, right?
You have to name one. Well, you can start with one. You can then add.
Think. Oh my god! I'm getting like trapped in my, because I'm like thinking of 2.
Okay, then say the 2.
Okay. So it's Village Vanguard, the jazz. That's like, I'd love to do that. And actually, I think, I don't want to like, maybe like we have to like check the facts, but I think that actually the owner originally was from Lithuania.
Really?
Yeah, he's like,
oh wow,
like I don't know, like in which past, like who immigrated here, but yeah, like I think it was like Lithuanian.
Okay.
Yeah, which is interesting. And then another place, I think, like Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's at the top.
It's
gorgeous.
Yes.
Okay. What is the worst advice you've ever received?
Honestly, I don't even think that I
haven't received that. I mean, that's great. If
No,
you haven't
I'm like
received that.
thinking like, yeah, like if there's been something that maybe there has been something, but I think maybe so irrelevant. I just like
You just blocked
I just thought, but I really don't know. I think honestly I've gotten mostly like the like
Okay, well, that
Good.
was going to be my next question. So we can just jump to that. What is the best advice you've ever received?
being yourself and also do what you love and love what you do.
That's good. That says it all. That's great.
Yeah.
Exclamation point. to that. Okay. Number 7. What work, achievement, or milestone are you most proud of?
Oh my god.
They're really easy questions, aren't they?
They're not easy. Oh
okay, you
my
can take your time.
goodness. Oh my goodness. I have multiple, but I think like the one that just like now came to my mind, maybe performing at the Montreux Jazz Festival back in 2017. That was like, I think that definitely has been like one of the highlights.
Yeah.
Just because it's the festival where like it's the largest one in Europe, and not because it's the largest one, but because like Bobby McFerrin, who's like one of my inspirations, has performed there like together with Chicoria. And I just remember in high school like watching a lot of Montreux Jazz Festival like videos like that was uploaded on YouTube, and I'm like, God, I hope that like one day.
Wow.
And then like many years later you're just like, wait a minute, I'm at that festival.
That's really
It's-
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Not that there are bad answers.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the best part or something that you feel like you have kind of gotten out of being part of Nordic Artists of New York?
It's so hard because there's so many. But one thing is definitely the friendships and like the people, like the exposure or like exposure to like other artists. So basically, like become more connected, like with like different people. Be like, oh wait a minute, there's so many of us. We're like mushrooms.
Yeah,
like just
sprouting everywhere.
they're sprouting everywhere, right? And I think that's the beauty and like in seeing actually how much of like support there is, that it's not like, oh, we're competitors.
Yeah.
Because like not a lot of times that also happens, and it's really nice when you find, I think, that place where everybody's like, yeah, I'm from like we're in the same, we live like in the same, like we're coming from the same world, like the place in the world, and like we're here together.
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. What is something you wish you knew before moving to New York? Or you can also say like, what is advice that you would have given yourself or would now give to someone thinking of moving to New York?
Well, I'm thinking there's multiple things like running through my mind, but I think like one of the thing is just networking, going out, and also kind of understand like how expensive everything is, and like how to like how to plan, budget everything, and just like, and also how to be more disciplined and kind of also going after what you want. Because also like in the city the city offers so many things, right? And it's so easy to get sidetracked by just, and like if you stick to your goal, just go with it. I think those
really
are
good.
I think maybe that's actually would be the one too.
That's
Anyway.
someone, I can't remember who it was. I wish I did. Someone on this podcast answered this with like, just have a plan. And I was like, period. That sounds
No, it really, and it's like interesting because like when you come, and it's even like people who are coming to visit, right? Like as a tourist, you're just mind blown. And not everybody, but like I think like so many people, especially like young people, and I think also artists, they're like, oh, is the city of infinite possibilities? Yes and no. And like yes, because if you are making them, if you are like
like the right, putting yourself in the right
putting
place.
yourself in the right place, and also know if like if you don't know what exactly you want, like why are you here? Because I think it can be like very like misleading, and that's why I think we also like see that there's a lot of people just burn out.
Yeah.
And I mean, and not that there's anything like wrong with that, but I think sometimes it just happens because finances are just like not having that like plan. And sometimes also just universe, maybe it's just not the right place to be
for everybody. Yeah. It is overwhelming for sure.
It is very, and I think it again, as like with the same what you're doing like with the nanny, I think it takes a certain person or like characteristics to be in this place that actually the city allows you to lift up instead of like
that is so true.
Yeah. And you never know. And I mean, and there, I think also like we need those bad, like sort of like negative experiences. So to some extent, like not, everything, but to kind of like learn and be like, okay, like I learned my lesson. Like this city is tough. Like, but okay, I'm not going to allow that to take away those dreams. Yeah.
Exactly. We could talk about for the next 6 hours. One last question that I have for you is, what is your favorite quote or a poem or a lyric or a mantra, something that you kind of always remember by heart and think about or live by?
There's two actually. One of them is the Red Bradbury quote, "Do what you love and love what you do." That's like literally, and actually for a long while I was on my website like as other things. And the second one is by a Latvian poet, Rainis. The only things that will remain will be the ones who will change.
Oh, love that. The only things that will remain are the ones that will change. Yeah.
And like how important it is for us like to like have that, allow that change to happen, because that actually will bring like the things that actually will stay.
Yeah.
Because everything is like changing, it's always like evolving and
and you have to just embrace that. Okay, I have one more question and then we're going to wrap it up. Arta, what is your dream at the moment?
Oh my goodness.
It can be as big as you want or as small as you want. What is something that you're looking forward to or hoping would happen?
I think at the moment, like the closest dream that I have is to really get that Garland of Songs out in the world and like perform it, like just sing it all out. Like have an actual like place where to like put all this production in and just do it. I just want to tour. I just really want to play music. That's the only thing that on this earth at this that's the only thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
Like in the most that's like in the most like honest way. That's what I'm. And it's interesting because I think I am doing that, but I think it's always like that moment when you feel like I can do a little bit more, or like and it's a normal. I think it's such an artist thing to be like always wanting something more, but like not in I don't think like in an egoistic way. It's just like
it's just ambition.
Ambition, and like how to just lift up in your wings and just fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we are all glad that it is the only thing that on the earth that you want to do, because you are absolutely incredible at it. Thank you so much for taking this time and talking to me and telling me your story and telling all of us your story. One last thing, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram just by my name, Arta Jēkabsone or Arta Jēkabsone. Just
we'll
like
put it in the show notes
those
so
things.
They can see. Yes.
I think like I have stuff on Facebook, my website. Exactly the same thing. Bandcamp, Spotify, like all these playlists. And then where else? In the streets of New York.
In the jazz
definitely there.
Wonderful.
I'm around.
Thank you everywhere. Thank you so much, Arta, and we will put all of the info in the show notes. And everybody, please do go listen to Arta's new album, The Garland of Songs. It is beautiful. It is bubbly and flowery, just like its creator. And we're so happy that you're part of this community. Thank you.
I mean, it's been a pleasure, and it really, like, I want to give a shout out to you yourself, because I know it takes a person.
It takes a person.
It's to build, like, to create something what you already have been creating for all of us, and yeah, you should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you. You know what I always say is yes, it takes a person to start it, but also a community would be an awfully lonely community if there's only that person. So it's really really great that people want to be in it.
But it takes a person to like find them, you know, like pull the strings and like get all these folks in one place together.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, this city is like 8 million people. Like, how do you find like your 200, 300 and like how do you expand?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, thank you for saying that. And thank you for being part of it. Kiitos, tack, Aita, Baldies and Archu for listening to the True North podcast by Nordic Artists of New York. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please make sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Music and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss the next episode. In the meantime, you can follow our community on Instagram and Facebook at Nordic Artists of New York and learn more about our grassroots mission and our incredible roster of artists at nordicartistsofnewyork.com, where you can also sign up for our monthly newsletter of Nordic and Baltic art events in New York. This podcast is produced by me, Petra Jasmina, with the amazing Kristi Rosma and supported by Finlandia Foundation National and Petrified Productions. The theme music is by the wonderful Finnish singer-songwriter and composer Eeppi Ursin. You can hear more of her music via eeppiursin.com or on your favorite streaming platform. Thank you for being with us on this journey to True North. See you next time!